Meets Foodie, for those of you who weren't here yesterday, we're all about connecting producers to commercial foodies and eventually home foodies as well. But at this point we're concentrating on commercial foodies, so that's restaurants, cafes, food co-ops, food distributors, that type of thing, so that they can buy and sell produce direct and really get the story behind food. Can you hear me all right up the back? The story behind how food is grown, the work that's gone into it, and what's special about it. Has it been grown regeneratively or biodynamically or organic? Getting those stories across to the people consuming the food. So today I'm going to go, we've developed an app to make that whole process of connection easier. I'll go into detail about that a bit later on, but first of all, I'll tell you a bit about how Farmer Meets Foodie came about, and then we'll talk a bit about social media and really getting your story out. So just want to get a bit of an idea of people, how many people here are farmers or planning to be farmers, future farmers? A few, yeah. Grow food, great. And then how many of you are on social media? So yeah, lots of people on social media. That's fantastic. So if you're not a farmer, you want to support farmers, we'll talk about how you can do that today, how you can help them share their stories and promote their produce. Especially if you're wanting to promote regenerative ag, how you're going to support that through social media and telling your story. But for those farmers, how many of you have your own social media pages for your farms? One? Did have two. Okay, great. So we'll start off. Yeah, so Farmer Meets Foodie came about. My husband and I've got a small place near Mount Malloy. We've just got a few cows, but we were looking at what other produce we might grow and sell direct to the restaurant market down at Port Douglas, which isn't far from where we are. But I was envisaging that's going to be quite a bit of work to go down to those places and, you know, knock on each restaurant's door to see if they're interested in buying direct or if they're interested in the product we have, and probably having to do that repeatedly with the high turnovers of staff in the hospitality industry, so thinking that's going to be quite a bit of work. And then I was also involved in organising events with all local produce on the menu, and I found trying to source that, even though I knew a lot of farmers and worked with them, I found that a bit challenging. So that's kind of part of how Farmer Meets Foodie came about. Also worked in natural resource management and land care most of my career, and met a lot of farmers doing great things through land care or doing sustainable production and regenerative agriculture, and really not seeing that story, and also knowing how much work goes into producing food on all levels, from planting, fertilising, picking, harvesting, right through to production in the restaurants and cafes. Not seeing that story about the work in food and the good stories coming through when you're purchasing the food. So when you go to the supermarket, it's laid out like this, and some produce is labelled, but even then you don't know where that product's come from, how it was grown. So just really passionate about getting those stories out there. So that's what we'll talk a bit about first. I'm going to use my slides. So if you are growing sustainably or regeneratively, your produce is in demand. More than 1 in 10 Australians have said that they consider themselves to be highly committed to organic purchases. So they're outlaying roughly 40% or more of their annual grocery spend on organic produce, which to me was quite surprising. I think it was 6 in 10 said they bought some organic produce each year at some point in a 12-month period. So that's quite high. This is Don Murray, he's an organic producer at Dimbula. So if you're growing organically, regeneratively, sustainably, there is a real interest in your product. So who's wanting your product? Who cares about sustainable produce? So this chef is down on the Sunshine Coast, Cameron Matthews. So he's actually just done a Churchill Fellowship, and his whole project was going overseas and having a look at restaurants that are doing the whole sustainable menu. So not just about sourcing local produce, but having a menu where the produce is all sustainably produced. So his aim, he's just opening a restaurant down there now. He's had other restaurants before. This is him down at Regional Flavours Food Festival in Brisbane. But so he's opening a restaurant based entirely on having sustainably produced food on his menu. So his tagline on his Instagram account is creating a blueprint to improve sustainability across sourcing, society, environment and chef's mental health. So a lot of farmers too are taking sustainability, going beyond just what's happening in the paddock. It's also about how your staff are looked after and how you fit into the community and keeping everything going in the long term. And sustainability also about having a sustainable income. And I guess that's why we're talking today about how you can tell your story and promote your produce, because ultimately the aim is to sell it so that you can continue farming and make a living from that. So who cares about sustainable produce? Well, I'm going to stereotype here quite a bit. So we're talking about the foodie. So this is that quite often the professional market, they've got a decent income, they really care about what they're eating, where it comes from, is it ethically produced, is it produced environmentally sound manner, they care about global warming. So they're prepared to pay that extra money to source that produce and going out their way. They'll go to the markets on the weekends, that type of thing, to find that food. So they won't just go out of their way with their pocket, with finances. They also will go out of their way politically to make sure that food is being grown sustainably. And you'll see that really that bracket is having quite an impact on farming. If you're a producer, you're probably in the back of your mind quite worried about your industry, what could happen to it. These are a few examples in the last 12, 18 months of farming industries that have been impacted by what's gone on in the media and what the stories are that are going out there. Certainly, there's things that we need to be concerned about, but farmers certainly cop a lot of the flack for that. And as a regenerative or sustainable grower, you probably really need to set yourself apart from the rest of the industry. Otherwise, you're at risk of being taken out with the whole industry when they have one of these big impacts happen on them. Say like the live export. So all the mutton price, all the sheep prices drop then, which can impact on you. But if you've got your business marketed and well known and you're selling direct to your customers, or your customers know who you are when they go to the supermarket, then you're setting yourself aside that you can ride through those kind of waves a lot better. Is that making sense to people? Yeah.
You mentioned the price of the crops, but we don't see that in the supermarket, do we? Only the farmers impacted by that.
Possibly, yes, yeah. It should, so sometimes you will see that change over time, like if it continues to be, if there's too many sheep on the market, then it will eventually drop in the supermarket.
I'm not so sure. I can remember back in 1989, I think, where this sort of banning live sheep export and the Iran-Iraq war, the Kuwait war, America stepped in and took our whole live sheep export market. So farmers were forced to, basically they couldn't afford to feed their sheep, so they killed them and buried them.
Yeah, that's right. So that's because the market dropped, they couldn't sell them for that. So I remember at that time sheep in Charlton, like to buy a side of sheep, a whole sheep in Charlton was $10.
Yep.
So that's, it killed the industry, and that's why mutton's become so dear over time. So the farmers often end up wearing the cost, not the supermarkets, for sure. So yeah, how do we differentiate ourselves from the rest of our industry so that we can stay strong? So first of all, sustainable, regenerative, biodynamic, ethical, slow, pesticide-free. Most of us here would be aware of those things, but does your consumer know what they all mean? And whose responsibility is it to let them know what they all mean? Do we have an industry bodies, you know, MLA, Meat and Livestock Australia, or GrowCom? They aren't necessarily giving the message out what all these mean. So it's really, it's not up to you, but there's no one else to do it, so you might have to do it yourself. And people here can help to spread that word. So telling the story is what we're going on to. So how do we go about telling that story? Oh, sorry, I'll give you some examples first. So this is just in the beef industry. Some examples of producers who are doing a great job. They're selling direct. Some of them are selling direct, like Bushy Creek Farm. They're over at Gelatin. They sell their meat direct to families, as does John Bull Farming. They also sell at Rusty's Markets. So they're organic. Bushy Creek's biodynamic. Outback Beef is a brand in the Pilbara in Western Australia, so quite remote, where, and you know, quite an isolated area of beef production. But they've started selling their beef direct to restaurants in their region for the tourist market, and they're boxing beef and selling it to families in Perth as well, and looking at export options. So they've been able to differentiate themselves from the rest of the industry by creating their own label. And OB Organic, it's been around for a long time. They're a big organic producer from the southwest of Queensland. So they're another example that they've been able to set a really high price for their product and maintain that. They've got a quality product, but they've built a great label around that. So that's a group of families that got together to do that based on grass-fed beef. This is a small family in the Maranoa, also beef producers. They've so they're selling that their beef sustainably grown as grass-fed, and they sell direct to a restaurant in Brisbane, a high-end restaurant, but then they sell the less favourable cuts to a baker as well for pies. So and they also sell direct to families. So they've built a whole label around there. So they're getting much higher price for their beef to do it that way rather than selling the whole beast. So they work
it's more
with
like niche marketing.
Yeah.
For the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, exactly. These are a couple of examples in the fish industry. You might know of little tuna down in Cairns.
I thought we thought you were for regenerative agriculture. This kind of pisses me off. It's all meat and fish, and I'm getting sick to my stomach.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend. Just trying to give you some examples.
Different people have different ways of doing things, and part of regenerative agriculture and transitioning into a different way is being able to embrace people where they are at the moment. And Erica's actually been really patient with us getting our butts onto sticks right now, and I really appreciate the kuranda digital media filming here right now. And I really
I see
appreciate
the oceans are not really
we're not
overfished.
going to
How
have
can we talk about fishing if we're talking about
right now, because we're going to respect somebody who's come with this
Sorry,
presentation.
I'll shut
It's
up.
okay.
And if you have something to say, we'll do that in a different forum.
There's
I
only
think
enough
that's a-
division in the world.
I think
where
that's a
you
fair
get
question, and the reason I've got these two particular fish producers up here is Hoban Fish Tails. They're in Townsville. They have their own trawlers. They're both, the couple that own it are marine biologists, and they sell their whole product on it that's sustainably harvested, and they cook it themselves in their fish shop. And they do a great job of telling the story. Their tagline is, if we don't know the story behind the fish, we don't sell it. So they only sell fish that they catch themselves and that's caught sustainably, or from others that's caught sustainably. They check that. I've just recently won some awards on that. And Little Tuna in Cairns is the same, and they've really hit that high-end market by selling the story of their sustainably harvested tuna. They were seeing all their tuna going in with all the other tuna, no matter how it's harvested, so they wanted to differentiate, to set it aside as sustainable. So telling the story, why would you tell the story? Who are you going to tell it to, and how are you going to tell it? So yeah, I think the why we're going to tell it is just to, mostly to differentiate yourself in the market. We've talked about that a bit already, and how you're going to sell your sustainable story. Okay. Who are you going to tell the story to? So the idea is to tell the story to the end consumer, so they know what you're doing differently and why they may, in some cases, are going to pay more for that product, and why they would choose your product over another product, and how we're going to tell the story. So that's where we're going to start going to the social media and how we can tell our story in some different ways it's been done. Oh, this is a bit more on why you might. Well, I've put the strawberry example up there. So that's Shaylee's strawberries. So with the recent issues with the needle contamination, they didn't miss a beat. They've already got a really engaged market. You know, they sell it direct to people who go and pick strawberries there or buy straight from the farm. So they're really fortunate, partly because they're the main strawberry grower in North Queensland, but they were really supported by the community and the local IGA, and everyone was coming out picking strawberries themselves, and the prices were so low that it wasn't going to be worth their while picking it. So the public came in and picked and bought strawberries, and yeah, they've survived the season really well, whereas other strawberry growers down in southeast Queensland have had to kill their crop off. It's just not viable for them to pick it or even to continue with it. So in the coffee there, that's at Skyberry Coffee Works. They do a great job of telling their story, to the point that they are in demand they've gone out of their way to tell their story so that people are asking for their product in the supermarkets. So if something happens to the coffee, or they grow papaya as well as a dual crop, and doing a lot of sustainability and reusing water and irrigation efficiency and that type of thing. So they're getting that story out there, so the consumer is looking for their product, and that way that when the supermarkets are at the main markets, they'll be asking for Skyberry produce because their customers are asking for it. So that's another way. You might not be selling direct to your customer, but if your customer's getting the story of your produce, then they'll be seeking it out. So on to social media, I guess. We can also do traditional media, obviously. So writing media releases, which Lisa was talking a bit about yesterday, getting your story in the newspaper, on radio, that's a great way. But social media is a really great way to get your story out there, and it's pretty cost effective. Well, it's free, but you can do some low paid advertising as well, which can take it that little bit further. So today I was going to talk a bit about Instagram and Facebook mostly. I've got Twitter up there. I use Twitter, so I'll give that a bit of a mention now and again. But if you're wanting to tell your food story, Instagram's a great place for that. A lot of foodies are on there. They like food looks good in photos, and so does farming. And yeah, Facebook, I think it's something like over 90% of Australians are on Facebook, so that's a great place to engage as well. And most of us are already using it, so it's often a good place to start if you're comfortable using it. So I just want to share this fellow's story. Ashley Wise, he's an oats farmer in Western Australia. This is on Twitter. So he did a little video of himself, which in his oat paddock, just talking about how he grows it and why it's important to him, and a bit about his oats. So he said, I wanted to tell our customers a few things about the oats that we grow in Western Australia, so I towed my phone to a post and made a video. So that was only a week or so ago, and he tagged us in it so that we'd get notified when, you know, we shared it and that type of thing. But he's tagged ABC Landline as well. So it's been retweeted 62 times so far. So that's just, you know, that took him 5 minutes, and now he's got a stack of free advertising really. He's really getting his message out there about what he's doing. I mean, 62 retweets isn't viral, but it's a good way to get known, your product known. So if and to get your story out there of, you know, what you're doing, how your food's growing. And for people here that are wanting to support farmers in regenerative ag, then you can be saying, you know, like today I'm at this ag conference, this is happening, you know, I learnt about soil health, or, you know, tell a little story about what you've learned about the soil health and share that around, and that way you're spreading that word really well. So what I'd probably like to do now is we're going to get a bit interactive with each other. If we can all, you see we've got some chalkboards there, I'll have a look at them in a minute, but first of all, everyone seems to be on Facebook at least, is that right? Yeah. And we just take a minute to partner up with someone, maybe someone you haven't met before. Share your Facebook handle. Does everyone know what a handle is? Yeah? No? So a handle on your Facebook. So if it's just your personal Facebook, it's just be your name. So like Erica Hughes, or you might have Erica Hughes 101 if there's heaps of Erica Hugheses. But for a business, you have a handle like this. So ours is @FarmerMeetsFoodie. That way, if someone wants to tag your business in a post, then they can put that. The same as when you tag a friend, you just write their name and it comes up, so that they know that the post is there. Then you can tag a business like this. So say if you go to Cairns Microgreens this afternoon, you take some photos of the great produce there and you want to share it with your friends, then you can tag @Cairns Microgreen, or is it? Yeah, @Cairns Microgreens, and then all your friends will know. They say, oh, this microgreens looks good, and they want to check it out. They can click on to that handle and it'll take them to Cairns Microgreens Facebook page. So that's a great way to spread the word about farmers that are doing great things. So if you do that, but yeah, really social media is all about connections, okay? So the idea is that if we all become friends with each other on Facebook, then it's really easy to share these things. When we see something great about regenerative ag, we can tag someone and share it, and that's spreading the word really well. So if you just want to take a minute, go and introduce yourself to someone you don't know that you'd like to friend on Facebook, and then we'll do some stuff on the blackboards in a minute.
I don't have any coverage here, so...
Oh yeah, if you don't have coverage, maybe just take their name down and you can look it up this afternoon, okay? So we've got 1 minute, get out of your seats, go and talk to each other, don't be shy.
Thank you. Yes, I'm on Facebook. Yes, but I'm just
Okay.
I don't have
Talk to you. Are you on Facebook?
I'm looking cutting.
Maria. How do you...
So the handles are great, yeah, for tagging someone in a post, but also if you're looking for a business, because a lot of businesses have very similar names. If you know what the actual handle is, it can be a lot easier to find it. I don't know if you've had the experience of trying to find a page on Facebook and you can't find it even though you put their name in exactly as it is. Often the handle is slightly different because someone already had that handle taken. So if you find out what the handle is, it makes it a lot easier. So the handle is just where it says @. Okay? Make sense?
Where do you find your hand?
So on a Facebook profile, it'll just be under like the main photo. Yeah. And yeah, if you type in, like for Farmer Meets Foodie, you type in www facebook.com/farmermeetsfoodie. So that last bit is the handle.
The bottom's a different one.
Yeah, so that's Twitter only allows so many letters, so I had to shorten it down to @farmermeetsfoodie because they're very about short and sweet. So okay, so that's handles. And so before you go today, if you'd like to take a photo of all the handles here, these are all the pages are connected with today, and there may be more that will get added on later. But then you can tag those businesses with any photos you've taken at the event. And then this blackboard has got hashtags on it, so I'll talk about hashtags now.
So I noticed there's one in particular that's North Queensland as well, that's you?
What's that, sorry?
Farmer Meets Foodie
North Queensland. So that's a closed Facebook group. Sorry, one shot. A closed Facebook group, yeah. So a closed Facebook group, you know what a closed Facebook group is?
You can invite them as a member, yeah?
You're on Messenger.
Yeah, you can ask to join.
That's where all the troublemakers are?
Yeah, that's what all the
One's on
troublemakers are.
Messenger and
Invite me.
chat group.
Yeah, well this is on Facebook, the one we're talking about. It's a closed Facebook Farmer Meets Foodie North Queensland, so people just go in there and can put what produce they've got for sale, or if they're looking for something, they can just go on there and do that. So, yeah. Or if they've got farming events coming up or food festivals and things.
Andre Lawyer's a tweeter, so he's got really updated what's happening in the world. Yeah.
I'll look up what his handle is.
Yeah.
So has anyone heard of hashtags before?
My
Yes,
kids
but I
have.
don't know them. What they
Kids have?
My
Yeah,
kids know
most
all
kids know
about
all
them,
about
yeah.
them. And that's a good point. If you're struggling with this stuff, kids are a good source of knowledge to get their help with what to do with it. So the idea of hashtags is you might see on Facebook or Instagram, they use a lot more on Instagram than Facebook. People will hashtag something relevant about the posts they've written. So like yesterday I did some posts about the event yesterday. I took some photos of some of the speakers and I used these hashtags: Friends of Farmers, Regen Ag Convergence, Coa Hall, Regen Ag. So that will just, using those will just mean that people can find info. Say if they search Regen Ag Convergence and other people have hashtagged it, everything under that hashtag will come up. So you can search by a hashtag. So you could put Regen Ag Convergence up in the search function, and then all the things that have been tagged for that will come up.
Is that on the Google or Facebook search engine?
On the Facebook, yeah, or Instagram.
And will you need to use hashtag before it, or you just search it as it is?
You can just search on Instagram. You search it as it is, and then you'll see there's like 4 headings. One's I think it's people, groups, and then hashtags. So then you go into hashtags, and into Instagram you can actually follow a hashtag. So I might follow, say, Friends of Farmers, and then see if that's something I'm interested in, I'll see what other Friends of Farmers news is coming through. So, and you can look in recent and most popular. So there's 2 areas there. Facebook, most people might only use 2 or 3 hashtags, but on Instagram you can use up to 30. And they really recommend that you use all 30. You should try, if you're running a business, you should try and have your own business hashtag. So mine's Farmer Meets Foodie. And then I've got a couple of others that I use quite a bit, like Local Produce Revolution. That's what I wrote there.
Produce on the menu.
Oh, and Local Produce on the Menu is another one I use a lot. So they're kind of, things I'll put that are relevant to what I'm doing, but what you want to do is try and search what's relevant for your industry. So if you're farming, things like farm life is the best life, search what hashtags are being used a lot, just do a Google search on that and include those in your hashtags, because that will get you seen more and get more people knowing about you. But then it's also good to have some that aren't used as much, so that distinguishes you a bit from everyone as well. So there's a bit of science in it, but yeah, try and use, in Instagram, use as many hashtags as it will allow you. But in Facebook, just probably 2 or 3. And Twitter doesn't give you much space, so you'd be lucky to use one there. So Lisa's put up a couple more that are used, like F&Q Sustainability Alliance. So yeah, if you want to, when you're taking photos and putting them up on your social media about this weekend, you could use some of those hashtags to help other people who are here find them. So you don't necessarily need to be friends with everyone that's here to see what's been happening at the event if people are using the hashtags. That make sense? Hashtag some more. So yeah, so if everyone wants to take a minute to jump up and take a photo of those, if there's any hashtags that you use a lot that you want to add, or any handles for businesses that you want to add. People write messages of thanks to the farmers. These guys down here started up a whole page around it at thank a farmer for your next meal. So they've got billions of followers, I'm not sure how many. But yeah, it's just a way, it's a good way to promote your event because we can hashtag thank a farmer, and so anyone who's looking at thank a farmer or at thank a farmer for your next meal will also see Friends of Farmers and the regenerative ag convergence and what we've been doing here. So it's a great way of spreading the word for regen ag as well. So I had some postcards made from the ones we did last time, which I've used all of them. There's only 1 or 2 left now, so hopefully we'll get some more done with your messages today, or we might do something else with it, but I'll certainly share the photos on social media, so you can keep an eye out for those and share those as well if you want to. But just doing little things like that helps to get your business or your cause more noticed and the word out further. So if you haven't, we've got 3 messages there which I've taken a photo of, so I'd love if some other people will write some messages of thanks to the farmers. If you want to take a minute, grab a piece of chalk. There's a rag there to rub them off.
So you can clear it and write something.
Yeah, write something else, and we'll take some photos of those then. You can put more than one message on a board if you like. There's been I was actually quite surprised how many chefs just in North Queensland are doing seasonal menus now, doing their menus to suit what's available in their area. So that's been fantastic to see. So yeah, we started off a couple of years ago, engaged an app developer down in Cairns, and we've got that a little way along. Then I applied for a grant with the state government, Ignite Ideas grant, which I was successful in getting, so that allowed me to work on the project full time and get it tested. So we've had we've had producers and restaurants and cafes and food co-ops and bakeries and butchers all over North Queensland from about Bowen North testing it, right up to Bamaga is our furthest north foodie. We've got producers right out in the Gulf as well. So they gave us feedback on how it could work better and what else we could do. So we've made some more changes and it's tracking along. We've got 250 businesses on there trialling it now. Quite a few from down in southeast Queensland, northern New South Wales, and we've got businesses from every state in Australia trialling it now, which is really exciting. But we've still got some functions that we want to really get in place before we go, right out and get everyone on board. So it's still a little bit in the trial phase at the moment. So when you go on the site, this is the front page in the site. We have a section for products, so that's what produce is available right now. Producers, so these are all the different growers, harvesters and producers on there. Commercial foodie, so that's the restaurants, cafes, food co-ops, supermarkets, butchers. Transporters, so that's transporters we've just added recently, so I've only got one on there. So transport being one of the biggest issues for producers. We've put them on there so that when the producer and commercial foodie make a connection and they want to actually move some produce, they can contact a transporter and make that a bit easier. Eventually we'd like to see that move to that they'll be able to you know, log a job, so I want this produce to go from Koa to Cairns, and then a transporter, which might, you know, be some, depending on what produce there is, it might be a truck or it might be a commuter, can then go and take that job. So some of the products, just some examples, I think we've got about 90 products on there at the moment. Lots of edible flowers, organic strawberries, free-range biodynamic beef, organic garlic. So it's been a lot of organic biodynamic growers have been really drawn to the site, which is really great to see. We've even got saffron down there, which you can't really see. I didn't know we grew saffron in Australia, but lemons, limes, yeah, a whole lot of stuff. So that's just what the fruit looks like. It doesn't look that good in this light, but anyway. Looks pretty good on the screen. These are some of the producers on the site, which you probably can't see that well from where you are, but you're welcome to come and have a look on my screen later. So Coric Plains, there's, can't read these very well. Red Ochre Organic Farm, Barra Bee Farm, got quite a few bee producers. Yeah, there's a whole range of different types of producers anyway. So each producer has their own profile. So this is an example of one. They have a profile photo and then a background photo as well. They put in an about us. So this is where they can really fill in detail about how they're growing their food and getting that story across. We wanted the site to be an easy platform for those producers that aren't into social media, which a lot of people, I think we talked about this yesterday, are really good at growing food. That's what they specialise in. They're not necessarily good at using social media or have the time to do it especially. So if they can get on and set their profile up, or get a young person to set it up for them if they're not tech savvy at all, yeah, and that's the opportunity to tell their story, what's special about what they do. This fella has only put one sentence, but they can put a few paragraphs in there. And then they say what types of produce they grow down the bottom. And their contact details are there, so the commercial foodie can contact them directly. So I don't think I've got a photo of the... So when you click on a product, or even here, it shows what's special about the product, like if it's organic or biodynamic or free range, ethically produced, those kind of things. So at the moment it's a bit of a fill-in situation, but our plan is to have any certifications, they can put in their certification number as well. So that'll be a lot clearer. And it's very much well at this point, it's very much checking in and getting to know the producer and knowing what they're saying is right.
Is there any like products or jams or
Yeah, we do
fermented
have
products and things as well?
Yeah, we have had some producers put up their value-added products. There's none in that photo there, but things like quite a few bush foods on there. Yeah, and I have got, there's quite a few producers like Rainforest Bounty and those Mungali Creek and things. They haven't uploaded products yet, but they're on that, trying it out, so they can do soon. Yeah.
Does it cost producers to be involved in that?
Yeah, at the moment, it's no cost at the moment till we want to get, you know, a few thousand on there at least and get all the functionality into the app that we want to be available for them. But the long-term plan is for it to be a subscription basis, like a monthly subscription. And for producers that, you know, might only have a product for a couple of months a year, they can go in and out as required. And the same for the commercial foodies that, you know, if they might only be redoing their menu once a year. I mean, we'd like to see them do it seasonally, but not everyone does that, so they might just go on monthly. We're hoping in the long term, with all the things that we want to put into it, it'd be a great place for them to advertise. It'll be well worth their while.
And
So-
will the smaller producers have, like, it be a scaled thing?
Yeah, that's something we're looking at. Yeah. Well, the cost we're looking at is $25 a month, which isn't much. You know, if you're going to the markets each week, that's probably more than that. Yeah, it's hard to, you know, if you have a really big producer that's selling a lot of produce, so how we're going to make that a fair thing. So, yeah, if anyone's got ideas, throw them out to me.
Is the overall goal to produce an app that you can place an order? And so I say, all right, I want some strawberries, I want some leeks, I want some broccoli. This is how much I want, and I want it here.
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
We have
or-
looked at that, but no, not. I don't really want to be involved in the transactions in that to do the quality assurance on products Australia-wide. It's just not going to be feasible.
Well, you're
but
stepping
I'm
into dangerous territory there.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm thinking that food distributors will hopefully use the app and source through these producers they're looking for, you know, like Simon and George, that kind of businesses can then find different products for their chefs and things.
Like if someone had a stall at Rusty's or something that stocked these products, and you
Yeah.
direct them, funnel
Yeah,
them
you can
from
find
their
out where
website
those-
to there.
Yeah,
Have
because every
distribution
producer
points.
has different, that's one of the things the producer puts in their profile. You know, do they sell direct, do they sell to a market, or, you know, how they want it to be contacted and that type of thing. So every producer has different channels. They might already have a distributor that's doing, or they might be distributing their own. So it's such a big complex because we're looking at every type of food. Yeah, it's a big, but it's evolving. I don't really know where it will end up, but yeah.
I'm just thinking that we have to have a model like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, could be an option. Yeah, we got a question down there.
I just wanted to follow on with that, but I
Yeah.
kind of think that, like, for me, because I love my food and like the whole foodie philosophy, now we're getting more attracted to health, lifestyle products, you know, sick, is the tendency is where not needing as much to be fed as much convenience, you know, to have it all pre-packed and brought to us and specified we get it. We have more interest in engaging with the source.
Yeah.
So if we can at least, what you're doing, offer access and, this is how I can navigate this pathway to get this type of food, and if I have a level of interest enough, I will take a step towards the producer rather than expecting it all to be just delivered to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Ordered up nicely.
So that's probably the next step we're looking at, is opening it up for home foodies. So, but not at this point, because we really need to be able to differentiate the producers that want to sell direct to the public and those that don't, that only want to sell commercial. So we'll just, yeah, that is the long-term aim. And then those home foodies will also be able to see where they can eat out that's sourcing local produce, all those cafes and restaurants and bakeries and things where they can go to people who are doing that really well. So that's the longer term plan. We just got a question at the back that's been very patient.
With this, is there an idea that with a smaller home grow, with the fluctuation of produce that they might have, that they have a portfolio on here, but even if they're selling the local farmers market, it has a link to that they can use. If their food is still up here,
Yeah.
and it gives direction to where to buy it, and not directly to the restaurant or cafe, but where
They can find it.
farmers market. I
Yeah,
see a
for
lot of
sure.
people.
And that's the kind of info they can put in their profile, like come and see us at Younger Borough Markets. Or,
That linked up with my question as well about whether somebody else that's interested more in the local smaller market might be able to link up with you and take on that kind of side of things to promote that aspect of it. But,
so to promote markets and that type of thing. Or,
and just putting people directly in contact with smaller growers as well, or more accessible larger growers. Like some people have either the food trucks out the front or ways that people can access food through their farm. So maybe if you're focusing on this one, maybe somebody can step in and help get that more local so that it's not so far off into the future.
Oh yeah, it shouldn't be too far. It's just a matter of separating. We've just got to put in another function for producers to tick. I sell direct to public, I don't sell direct to public.
Okay,
But we just want to get a bulk of commercial growers on there first, because a lot of producers are put off by the thought of having anything to do with the public, and they won't go near it initially until we go.
You think that perhaps businesses that already deal direct with public, like restaurants or cafes, that get the strawberries and whatnot and make them into smoothies and whatnot, would be able to say, you know, someone comes in and says, oh, I want a pound of strawberries. Yeah, well, there you go. They act as distribution points already.
Yeah, true. I think.
I was just going to ask you, do you need to take those photos, because I can do that for you so other people can
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So these are some of the commercial foodies we have. Oh no, that's the farmer, sorry. These are some of the commercial foodies. So we've got about 120 of those. Lots of restaurants and cafes, and then some food co-ops, all kind of bakeries and lots of different things. So they do a profile very similar to the farmer's profile. Any other questions on the app? No. Got a couple of events coming up. I don't know if you know the Malanda Small Farm Field Days are in 2 weeks' time, or a bit less than 2 weeks, on a Saturday over at Malanda, Saturday week. It's only on biannually. It's a really good event. I'm going to get over to that. And on the Sunday following that, we've got an out-of-the-box farming tour with Northern Gulf Resource Management Group, leaving at Malanda Dairy Centre. I'll be doing a bit of a talk at the start of the day, and we'll be going to 3 properties that are doing great things sustainably. So one is John Bull Farming and Rainforest Bounty and Mungali Creek Dairy. So we'll be talking direct to the farmers there to find out how they've gone about, like how John Bull's gone into organics and what was involved with that. Rainforest Bounty doing really good things. They've, all their crop is multi-layered and multi-cropping, we call it. Very about biodiversity and including the wildlife within their projects. So that should be a really good one. And they do a lot of value adding as well. And Mungali Creek, they do biodynamics. They also have free range eggs there. So we'll have a nice lunch out. It's only $20. If you want the links to either of these, just let me know and I'll send you an email or a message or something. And then this one's a marketing your boutique produce. So any growers that are wanting to, well, you know, any growers that are wanting to really get into the nitty gritty of social media, how to set up a profile if they've got one already, how to take that to the next level. I'm running a workshop in January out at our place at Mount Malloy. So that should be a fun event. There's only 12 places for that one. I think there's only 15 places for that one. So it'll be a nice small group, and we'll have mentoring in a closed Facebook group for a fortnight beforehand and a fortnight afterwards to really work the producers through and help them out with everything, because everyone will probably be at different levels and everyone will have different produce, so it'll be really tailored to their particular products. And I think that's about it from me. Any other questions?
Very good job.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I love details of the Malanda thing.